What is this? Chandler Jones tweeted, I wish I could play with my brothers, but Marky Mark is holding a huge secret that only I know.
What?
That's why I was asking for my protection. Sorry if I sound scared because I'm not, LOL. When I found out I was, LOL.
Huh?
He knows exactly where Jimmy Hoffa is.
Brother, I hope you are okay.
Oh, brother.
That's not a look inside the mind of someone who is doing well.
Oh, man. Well, get well soon, man. For real, because that don't even sound right.
Shout out Jim Trotter. I am all things Jim Trotter moving forward.
Same.
The NFL tweeted something about the post that Alexander Madson put up on his social media accounts. And Jim Trotter just quote tweeted with the emoji. Very nice, Jim. Very nice, Jim. That was really sad yesterday to read about the NFL or him being told not to report that the NFL wanted that DeMar Hamlin game to continue. That was really disturbing. Not surprising.
No.
Not surprising at all, but disturbing because we say a lot of things about the NFL. And it's not podding. Like, it's stuff that we believe. Like, it's stuff that we feel is genuine. And when stuff like, whether it's Kaepernick, whether it's driving the price of running backs down, like, I believe all of that stuff is real. And reading about this stuff in Jim Trotter's lawsuit, it's like, yeah, they did want to continue the game. We all know they wanted to continue the game.
Right.
And telling one of your prime reporters, yeah, don't talk about the fact we want to continue the game would be really helpful for us. Because it's a bad look now. Awful. Absolutely awful.
I could not imagine having to be a reporter for the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, you work for NFL media and you got to, and like Adam Schefter ostensibly does that, right? Just given his plugs and his connections. I could not, dude.
He's paid by ESPN, but he essentially works for the NFL. Ian Rappaport very literally works for the NFL.
Literally.
Which it's like, for a reporter, to me, it's hard to, I mean, it's state-run media. Like, that's what it is. Yeah. Like, Ian Rappaport is never going to report on a difficult story involving the NFL.
Right.
Because the NFL doesn't want him to.
Right.
Which, like, even with Schefter and all that stuff, which, like, seems doable to a certain degree, because essentially what they're supposed to be doing, or what you would think they're doing, is just literally reporting on the facts. Like, Nick Bosa signed a contract. You know what I mean? Like, there's no emotion involved, nothing like that. But what it gets dirty is when you got the Schefters doing like the Ravens work, you know, and putting things out.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's not
the Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. Just, I don't need you to be getting the tea for everybody and all this stuff. You just literally, hey, this is the deal, or this is something that's come across on a press release. I'm tweeting it out, leave it at that. And they kind of stray from that from time to time.
Yeah, if you're gonna be Adam Schefter and you're gonna be breaking news guy just on Twitter, what you do on a podcast, what you do on, that's different. But if you're gonna be Adam Schefter on Twitter, you can't go editorialize something. Like, that just doesn't. That just give me the fact of what's happening and cut it off there. But he's not going to do that because he needs info.
You really have to sell your soul if you're an insider.
Yeah.
Like, I reading Shams talk about Kevin Porter.
Not the
insiders. Not the.
Like, and that's why you're on.
Though some would say you sold your soul to be here. Thinking about Shams tweeting about Kevin Porter is, they're favorites. They're in trade discussions. No alert today about a Kevin Porter trade. Who's signing up for this? Who's ready for the backlash? He's essentially, like, Shams is essentially working for the Houston Rockets right now.
Yes.
Houston will not stand for this. They're trying to trade Kevin Porter. That's the only message that they're trying to get across right now.
Yep.
And insinuating there are teams out there, and we went over this yesterday, but insinuating there are teams out there who are willing to go through the PR nightmare of acquiring him at this moment is too far-fetched for me to believe.
Could I ask a question? And I don't know the answer. I'm really answering. Because could this all be part of like the Rockets? Maybe it sounds like I'm stalling them out, but going through steps to be able to move on from them. Like maybe they're not able to just outright cut them. Maybe they are. I don't know, but maybe they're not able to. They have to put out there, hey, you know, we tried to treat the player fairly and look for a deal, and then a month later we released them. I don't know.
Shams already tweeted almost immediately, or it might have been Woj, one of them tweeted almost immediately, the Rockets can't do anything. They have to let the NBA portion. They can't cut him. You know, they can't discipline him.
Yeah.
They can't do anything. They've got to let this ride. They literally have to do. You already got that out there.
Right.
You don't have to do anything.
Right.
You can just wait.
Yeah, true. I mean,
because he could, based on what all of us have seen, he could be like gone.
Yeah.
Like with no financial. It's not often that a player disappears from the league without any financial ramifications to the team that he's on.
Right.
This dude could be gone with zero ramifications to the Houston Rockets and their salary cap. Sit down and shut up. Let the NBA do what they do.
Yep.
And when they're done, then you can say, we have released Kevin Porter Jr. We will not stand for this type of behavior. You can do whatever you want to.
Well, and maybe I am sounding like I'm stalling them out, but maybe that's their way of saying, let's be clear, we don't want nothing to do with this guy. Because they can't say it.
So,
but saying like we're trying to trade him is their way of saying, if you had any doubt, like we don't want to do with him. I don't know.
I don't know that you have to go and say you're trying to trade him in that case, though.
Shams' report was they're in trade discussions,
with themselves.
Which means exactly. But that's not how, like, they're talking to another team who's willing to acquire him at this moment. No, they're not. Not even for 2 draft picks or whatever. Like that. They're trying to incentivize us with draft picks. You can't sell that to your fan base.
Nope.
You could sell it.
Even
we can look at it and go, "Ooh, Monty just acquired 2 draft picks for a player that the NBA is going to throw out of the league in 2 months.
He's not even going to come to Sacramento. He's not getting on a plane. He's not.
But
moving.
as I mentioned, Susie's season ticket holder in Kings Row 2, she ain't about it.
Yep.
You know, mom who bought tickets to see that, they're not about it. Shoot, most decent people aren't about it.
Right.
We get it from a sports perspective, like, oh, he ain't never going to play. I kind of get what he's doing. Right. You can't sell that publicly.
Nope.
Yeah,
you cannot sell it publicly.
Yeah, it's going to be Kings acquire Kevin Porter Jr. Or I shouldn't say that. Team acquires Kevin Porter Jr. You go Google, who's that? Kevin and every story.
Oh, you won't have to.
Be horrific.
Team acquires Kevin Porter Jr. currently under investigation for brutally beating his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Kyle Madson, The Insiders. He did not sell his soul to join that show. The Insiders, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. here on ESPN 1320. You share with me because I'm the only one asking questions today. Why are you guys so confident about the 49ers and the Rams matchup?
Well, the last 8.
Well, there's that. I get that.
No, that has nothing to do with anything. To me, what the Rams did last week was more a product of Seattle being bad than the Rams being good. If you Matthew Stafford never had to move in that game. That was a 7-on-7 drill for him. And Matthew Stafford is still, I am a Matthew Stafford truther. I think he's a good quarterback.
Okay.
And when you let any NFL quarterback just sit in the pocket with no pressure, they're going to be good. Matthew Stafford, when you let him do that, is going to be dang near elite. And I think that's what we saw against Seattle. Like his arm didn't fall off. He's not 45 years old.
I was concerned about that. I was very concerned about his arm entering this season.
Yeah, same. But it looked healthy. And if he's going to do that, then yeah, he's going to be able to pick a team apart the way he did Seattle. But it was 40 carries for 92 yards for the Rams offense.
Mm.
And I think that tells you a lot about where their offensive line's at. I think that Seattle's lack of pass rush was more because Seattle stinks on the defensive line and not because the Rams have this great pass blocking offensive front. And when you look at Seattle's, when you look at what LA did offensively, it was a lot of 3rd and long, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12, where it was just Stafford being individually brilliant against the defense that wasn't making a move. So I think the Niners are going to be able to make a move. They're going to knock him down, and you're going to start to see the Matt Stafford that people kind of have questions about.
Wow.
And as that snowballs, where the 49ers offense is much tougher to defend than what Seattle was bringing to the table on Sunday, then I don't know how the Rams stay around in this game.
On the other side of that as well, I think Brock Purdy's better than Geno Smith, and the 49ers weapons are going to be a little bit too much for what the Rams have right now on the defensive end. And that's where we get into the situation with the points. That you brought up a good point. I think the Niners are in position to score 30 again. And then you got to ask yourself, is the Rams offense ready to put up 27 to 31 points on that 49ers defense? I don't think so. So when you start doing the math, the 1 + 1 is starting to look like 31-17, 31-14, something like that.
Yep. Yeah, I think I agree. And division games are weird. So maybe something strange happens and the Rams go win 23-20.
Yeah.
Like that's always there. But I think when you just kind of zoom out and you go pound for pound, player for player, the Rams just aren't close. To where the Rams had like 40 rookies on their 90-man roster.
But that's the thing. Not many teams are, right?
No.
To the 49ers, like the 49ers are a loaded roster.
Correct.
Not many teams, but the 49ers aren't going to go 17-0. Well, all right, there you go. Guarantee board?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no.
All right.
No, they could. I mean,
it's actually Jesse's guarantee app. It's not a board. That would be just ripping off Ernie Johnson. Jesse just puts it in his notes app.
Oh, okay.
Like an apology. It's just in his notes app.
Are you gonna have to apologize for every guarantee you got wrong via the notes app?
I don't really know. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a very, very good idea.
Look into the camera and apologize or something.
Yeah,
like that.
that's a good idea.
And then post a screenshot, but don't edit down the note. It's the whole screen.
We'll do a Michael Scott style, the apologizing video too.
Oh, that's a good one with the taped American flag in the background. That's solid.
We're cooking right now.
That's solid. Kenny will get to that episode in 7 years.
Yeah, I'll be there at some point. But
it's literally like, oh no, that's later. That's later. That's like season 5 or 6.
Get you guys an American flag in your video boards here.
Wrong station, pal. But
little blue stripe through it.
Oh man.
Clean it up. Come on, guys. Let's go. It's Friday.
Speaking of thin blue lines, the Rams offensive line, am I right?
There's that, right? That's a good one. But we bring up the reasons why the 49ers, we think the 49ers will beat the Rams. And Damian says this is not the case, all the time. Like there's not a lot of people that match up with them. Yeah, you could be looking at a situation where, like, name a game right now you think the Niners won't be favored in.
Yeah.
Right now in Philly. That's the one.
Be 4?
No, I think Philly probably be favored by 3.
3.
Just 2.5, 3, whatever the standard just home points are.
I mean, if the 49ers look impressive, as you both think they will, and I don't question whether they're going to look impressive or not. Like team is loaded. They're incredible. Their week 1 performance was incredible. But you look at the 2 games that they played versus the 2 games that the Philadelphia Eagles played. It's depending on what happens with Dallas right now. The conversation to me is Dallas and San Francisco, not Dallas and Philadelphia.
I agree.
I mean, we're a week into the season. I understand that.
Yeah,
we're a week in a game into the season. I understand that. But I thought the 49ers performance in week 1 was really incredible. The Cowboys performance was jarring. I didn't see till after the show. I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before. the last time the Cowboys won the Super Bowl?
95.
Did you see their opening week game?
It wasn't against the Giants on Monday night.
It's 35-0.
Yeah, Emmitt Smith beat them down.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it was 35-0 the last time they beat the Giants. 35-0 the last time they won a Super Bowl to
I
start the
remember that
season.
game. Emmitt Smith got in trouble for taking his helmet off too.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah, I don't know. I think the Cowboys are really impressive. The Eagles I've watched last. I feel like the Eagles are like Trae Young. They're bored with the regular season already. They're just trying to get to the.
So that's a little bit why I'm hesitant. I haven't been super impressed by Jalen Hurts because I was of the mind that Jalen Hurts was going to take this leap this year where he went into that stratosphere that players rarely go.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're putting him in the Mahomes conversation. Like I really thought that that's the kind of leap we were going to see from him this year. And through 2 games, he's just been
Pedestrian.
like, okay.
Yeah, he's fine.
But
I feel like the Eagles have just been fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's both sides of the ball for them. And they're just super talented. And we see this all the time with the Seahawks teams back in the early 2010s, early to mid 2010s. We see it with the Patriots a little bit during the Tom Brady era, although that's tough because they were always so good. But early in the season, there's these little hiccups, and it's like, oh man, is this the year that the Patriots fall off, or oh, is this the year that the Seahawks slip? And then they get to November and they rip off 8-9 wins in a row, and they win 12 games, and they're rolling into the playoffs.
The thing with the Eagles that I look at as a possible question mark and a weakness is that defense, specifically the secondary. I think they can get after it on the defensive line and put pressure on quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can hold up, I think this is what a lot of they probably shouldn't have said anything, but like this is what a lot of the 49ers players were saying after that game, the NFC Championship game, was like, we felt good about the game plan. Like we were going to get people wide open all day. They just weren't able to keep Brock Purdy in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's more the same with the Eagles defense this year. I mean, you look at the Super Bowl. I mean, that's why they lost the game. They couldn't get a stop.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was like clockwork. We saw that last night against Minnesota, and I think that's where the weakness is. The thing about them, though, that makes them so special, it's almost like a Warriors situation in their heyday. I know they were ranked, you know, as one of the top, if not the top defense, but they weren't always like playing great defense. They would have these high-scoring games, but it was the pressure that they put on you with their offense that just made them electric. Like they're mentally, part of their defense was their offense, because you'd go down as an other team like, we have to score here, because if we don't, right. I know the Warriors, like, they're about to score on 4 straight possessions.
Right.
We have to score, and then that just kind of messes you up. And I think that's kind of what the Eagles do a little bit too, where it's like, yo, we've got to keep up offensively, because they're gonna run the ball and take 7 minutes off the clock and get a touchdown. Like, we have to score, and I think that plays as part of their defense a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. It's also super funny. We talked about this earlier on the Insiders, but it's super funny to me that the Vikings, everybody was like, that's a fraudulent 13-4 team last year, because they kept sneaking out of these 1-score games. And now they've lost 3 straight 1-score games, and they lose like 4 fumbles last night. It's like, yeah, that's what happens, man. That's actual football. And I think the Vikings are showing who the real Vikings
7
are.
turnovers? Is that the number? 7 turnovers in 2 games for Minnesota?
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
That's yeah.
Fumbles are always weird.
Yeah.
It really is a luck of a draw.
Yep.
Yeah, the solution to it is don't fumble.
Yeah, don't fumble. But I think, didn't the Eagles fumble twice last night and they got them both, or was it just once?
I know there was one, because I think we were watching it.
Yeah. It just happens. But like you said, hold on to the ball. You don't have to deal with it. Although, go ahead and do what you got to do, because I got to ask Kyle something else.
It's Steven KC on KIFM West Sacramento, 98.5 FM, KRX QHD2 Sacramento, ESPN 13, always live on the free Odyssey app. You can watch us on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, as we welcome in Kyle Madson of the Insiders on ESPN 1320, Monday through Friday, 10 to 12.
Before we dive way back into the Niners again, I got to ask Kyle, what's your solution for the worst rule in all of sports? That touchback rule. Touchback fumble nonsense.
I think offense gets the ball back on. I guess because you have to punish them a little bit.
Put him on the 25.
Yeah, I was gonna say the original spot.
That could work too.
Just you lose the down and you just go back to where the ball was.
Even that's a little unfair. I'd put him on the 25 because in that case, you're probably going from the 1 to the 25. So you're losing. Yeah, because to fumble it out of the end zone, you're probably like if you didn't fumble, you would either scored or been down at the 1. So
that's what I'm saying. Just put him at the 1 or wherever the play started. Oh, I see what you're saying.
So like last night,
they
were at the 30 or something like that when they made or wherever. It was a deep pass down the field. If they're at the 30, I wouldn't put them back at the 30. I just say automatically you go to the 20 or the 25 and you keep the ball.
But you have to disincentivize a little bit, like just throwing the ball toward the goal line, hoping to reach out and score. You have to disincentivize that a little bit, I think. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
But do you? Like, why do you have to do that? Like, you literally, we've hit a point where you, and I.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I overthought that.
You can't reach for the end zone anymore because of that. Like because of that potential outcome, you can't stretch and reach for the end zone. I don't remember what commentator was doing it, but of course, Bill Belichick has never, he's ahead of all of this.
Yeah,
that's actually a point that they go. Don't just do the next down. Like don't reach for the end zone because the consequences of it going wrong are far too great.
Yeah. That's great. I mean, that's something that should be changed. Like
it's awful
on Monday.
It's awful.
It is unbelievable though how often the move the quarterbacks do, where they're scrambling and then hold the ball over as they go out. First of all, that's trash. Put them back a couple yards. You don't just get to hold the ball out.
Right.
That's
Russell Wilson started that nonsense,
and Derek Carr just running the like you don't get a yard for that.
What
you didn't do anything. You don't get to do it. You didn't do anything. You don't get yards for going. Huh.
What happened to him?
And the other killer is
that was more forceful.
If you tried to hit him, you get in trouble.
Right.
They're getting a little extra yard. If you tried to hit him for that, you get in trouble.
I cannot believe that I have never seen, and I'm sure this has happened and I just didn't see it. It is not more prevalent that when a quarterback does that, somebody just goes and just knocks the ball out. And I know they're near the sideline, even if they did it, but I'm shocked at how often a dude can get away with just holding the ball out and not having it knocked out of his hand.
Yeah, blame Russell Wilson.
That's my move typically anyway.
What are you concerned about on Sunday?
Waking up.
Well, all right.
There's no guarantee. No guarantee.
Kyle, I was going to say Kyle Shanahan, but it really is Kyle Shanahan. Yeah, I
finances.
I agree.
Yeah. No, let's see. That's if I don't have one.
That's why we gave him his own show because of that right there.
No, I don't. There's nothing that sticks out to me that's because the 49ers were so good last week. And okay, if Matthew Stafford is awesome again and the Niners pass rush, here it is. If the Rams offensive line is just the best pass blocking offensive line in the league and the Niners get 6 pressures and Matthew Stafford lights them up, that's
how realistic is that?
Not very. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So are there ways things could go? Like, sure, you could fumble. There could be a turnover, muff a punt. It could be a bad call. And all of a sudden things spiral and it's Niners down 4 with 45 seconds left. That kind of stuff can happen in literally any football game. Any given Sunday is the phrase that I came up with.
You came up with that. All right. That's very good.
Yeah.
That's
very
good.
You guys can use that.
Power rankings.
We did.
Yeah.
We actually wrote this song too.
Okay.
Are you not familiar with that song?
No. Can you give me some Meek Mill then?
I can give you some Meek Mill, boy. You know what it is. We can go this one. We go this one right here. I'm gonna be careful because I don't want the copyright notice for this one. We gotta make money on this video. But we focus so much on dreaming nightmares and forget this is fire right here.
I need the one about turning noodles into pasta.
Yeah, you throw Phil Collins into anything, man. It's gonna win.
It's a great point.
The
start playing that bet under my show.
The one thing I'm worried about is Sean McVay and Aaron Donald being pissed off and saying enough is enough, and just being maniacal and be locked in and like on their game.
You know what game I go back to when you say that? The one in LA in 2020. where I think Colton McKivitz started at maybe left tackle, maybe he played guard.
Yeah.
I forget, but
That's the one I was talking about yesterday.
but it was late, and Aaron Donald just took over.
Yeah, and that first
Like, forced a
quarter or
fumble.
so, like he went crazy.
No, this is later. If I'm remembering,
No, because they pulled away in the second half. That's when
That's right. No, you're right.
Kinlaw got the
That's right.
interception
No,
return.
you're
but
right.
early in the game, you're right.
Yeah, he
Donald
forced a fumble and like had a sack, and he was just unbelievable. So yeah, that could happen as well. But that's one of those things that with Kyle Shanahan and the Niners coaching staff and this offense, I promise there's a contingency plan for, hey, Aaron Donald is one of the best defensive players of all time, and he's just putting in work on Spencer Burford.
Oh my God.
Like they're not the 49ers aren't gonna sit there after the first drive if Aaron Donald has 2 sacks and going, wait, what did we do? What do we do about this guy? Like, oh, I promise that's not. Yeah. They typically have a good plan for Aaron Donald until they need to drop back and throw.
Yeah.
Anything to be made of the crowd?
No.
It's kind of old hat at this point. Like 49er fans are going to be where the 49ers are. Like it's probably not a story anymore, especially when we're talking about Los Angeles.
Well, and I think not only do people travel, but when the Rams left, the 49ers were a very popular team, and there's probably just a bunch of Niner fans that live in LA.
Yeah, solid.
Because that's a lot of that. Because they were the team.
I was part of that. You know, the Rams were gone, and I was living in LA, and there's like at least 5 like 49er balls. Like a lot of people think like Niners travel in this situation. No, there's just Niner fans in LA. Like that's just, they're all over the place from wherever Six Flags is all the way down to Long Beach. Like they're just there.
What is that city called that Six Flags is in?
It's
right there on the other side of the grapevine.
Valencia. Is it Valencia?
Ventura? Not Ventura.
No, Ventura is a little more inward. I think it's Valencia.
I think I only know Vallejo. That's all I know. I don't.
There is a Six Flags in Vallejo.
Well, no, I know that's the only one that I know.
Magic Mountain. I think it's Valencia.
Valencia. Somebody said. Okay.
KC Tucker says Mountain View, Valencia.
I want to shift gears for a minute. You go with that?
Absolutely.
Go to the Warriors.
Couple weeks. Dwight Howard.
Well, thanks for joining us, Kyle. We appreciate you for being with us. Guessing you're not all about it.
It's like fine. I don't know. It's just more players I don't like playing for the Warriors.
Why don't you? Well, don't answer that.
Yeah.
I don't know if the off-air conversation should come to the air or not, but the last time we heard Dwight's name, it wasn't in the best of context.
Yeah.
And it's like no one cares that it's the Warriors call. Maybe no one cares about the accusations levied against Dwight. Like Dwight's being accused like of raping a dude. Like no one cares about that. Maybe they don't care because it's another guy, but like this dude's like, yo, Dwight's foul, and I have proof that he's foul. Whatever. I've always liked Dwight, and I don't know the validity of this, but it's out there. I think it's going to the courts, but the Warriors seem to get this pass, and maybe it's not the Warriors. Maybe that's too harsh. Maybe it's the fact that it's not a woman, and people, oh, it's not a woman. Let's not talk about it. We don't want to talk about that stuff.
Yeah,
like it's just weird that the last thing we really heard from Dwight, then Dwight starts cutting all of these funny videos that everyone loves, and now he's talking to the Warriors. It's like, yo, wait a minute, what happened to this story with this dude over here?
Yeah,
I don't like that. That bothers me.
Yeah, I want just nothing really to do.
And if he didn't do it, and
that's
that's been established, and I missed it, shame on me. But I've tried to follow this story, and I don't think I have.
Even just from a basketball standpoint, I just don't want to, I don't want to deal with having to root for Dwight Howard. I've just never been a huge fan. And then you add in the off court stuff, and I just that's a bad vibe. That's a bad vibes move.
Basketball wise, I think
a bad
Dwight's
vibes move.
Fine.
I do too.
I don't have an issue with him basketball wise.
So, okay, that's
and personally, I don't either, unless he actually personally before this.
Right. That's
I never had an issue, but I mean, if this really happened, that's a game changer.
And again, if I miss this being debunked by Dwight and proven and it's dead in the courts and the police were like, no, I missed it.
Yeah.
But you said a bad vibes move. We were talking earlier this week at the Draymond. I feel like Draymond tried to say all of the right stuff in that interview he did with ESPN, and so much talk about Chris Paul. I guess Chris Paul is starting. You talk about bad vibe moves. That doesn't feel right to me. It feels like the Chris Paul stuff. Like, I don't think this is going to work. And I'm not I'm not talking about from a basketball perspective. I don't care if Chris Paul starts, if he doesn't start, or whatever. I feel like the fact that, I think Dwight, I don't remember if it was Dwight or Steve Kerr. Someone said, we met with everybody, and Draymond and Clay and Steph, and we all met, and they were a little, timid on it at first, and Chris Paul was a little timid on it at first. Like, to me, yeah, you trust your gut.
Right.
It's all, hey, training camp's here. We're gonna go for a title. 2 weeks into the season, you've got a half court moment between Draymond and Chris Paul, and Chris Paul saying, that's why I'm out of here in February.
Yeah, I think that's definitely on the table.
I'm out of here.
Like, it doesn't. No, I'm with you. There's been nothing that's like this. It feels like a move made out of necessity, because you're right. Every time Chris Paul has talked about it, it's like this. Yeah, I'm excited to be there. It's very like, I'm gonna say the right stuff. I don't actually love this idea. And when is it? I don't know. I can't think of a time that this has ever worked, when a team has been like, we're just gonna add all these old dudes who are past their prime, except for maybe Steph. And I know that Steph, Draymond, and Clay are already there, but they have 3 old guys, and now they're adding Chris Paul, another working out Dwight Howard. It's just like, man, this isn't going to fly.
The thing that I always talk about in these situations is the finishing lineup. And if these guys are all playing together, I mean, you've got a finishing lineup of Paul, Curry, Clay, Wiggins, and Draymond. That just seems really small to me. And just think, if you're going up against Jokic, or hell, to be honest with you, if you're going up against Phoenix, I mean, KD, Aiden, those guys. Who's Chris Paul guarding in that one? Bradley Beal or Devin Booker? Like, that's, I don't know. I don't know how you work that one.
To borrow a phrase from our guy Guru, put the rat on the table.
There he is, putting the rat on the table.
Made a whole sounder for it and everything.
Does anyone got? Never.
No,
mind.
we never found.
Do you want to know?
We never found out.
Here was the story. When he worked as like an insurance salesman or whatever, when someone had something they needed to say, his boss or supervisor or whatever had this stuff like plush rat, and
like furry rat, like not like a rubber rat.
No, like a plush one, like a
stuffed animal rat.
Yeah, like a stuffed animal rat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who I got?
And
all right.
when someone had something to say, you'd go put the stuffed rat on the table, and then say what you wanted to say. So it's like, I'm gonna be real. Here's the rat.
So 2 things. I'm getting a stuffed rat for our sales meetings moving forward. 2, who makes a plush stuffed rat?
The rat company.
So I'm maybe I'm missing. This isn't like a stuffed animal. This is like
it's
I'm gonna send you an
animal.
I'm gonna send you an Amazon.
I found it. Like, we could go to Amazon and get one right now. It'll be here in like an hour.
I was gonna say, you could get it before your show's over.
Let me see.
We could get it delivered here to the Odyssey offices. There's plush, cuddly, stuffed rats.
Love that for all of us. So
Okay.
This is awful. This is
Okay,
disgusting.
This is
disgusting.
Oh my God, Kenny's taking his glasses off. This is very serious.
What's going on here?
I have no. This is all right.
I don't like rats.
So the rat on the
Not
table.
very many people go, hey, I really like rats.
Michael Jackson liked the rat.
Do people ever get rats as like
no, that's
pets?
Cap.
Yeah.
What do you have? What was it?
No, that was a movie.
He didn't have it in real life?
Oh, maybe he did.
Yeah, that was the
but
Jackson's
the song was
movie.
about the song. Wasn't the song? The song was for the movie.
No, on
Did he
in
really?
the Jacksons,
he
he had.
really
And
a
remember,
pet
Joe
rat.
killed it.
Yeah, he had the pet rat. Yeah. Then the 2 of us, we both found what we were looking for. You never heard. Ben?
So we were putting the rat on the table,
Well.
talking about the Warriors closing lineup.
Yeah.
We
thank
completely
you.
cut you
Klay
off.
Thompson needs to not close games.
Oh.
Who does? Looney?
If the Warriors are going, their stated goal is they want to win a title.
Multiple.
If they are going to do that, Jonathan Kuminga needs to be closing games.
Oh,
which means he needs to be good enough to be closing games. And if he's not, then they are not winning titles. That's the end of it.
Well, but Kyle, that's not going to happen. So what are we?
Right.
What's going to happen?
No, then they are not going to win a title.
I know.
That's it.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Thank you.
Saying that's not going to happen.
I know it. That's why the rat's on the table.
Oof.
And Klay just punted it off his boat.
That's funny.
Thank you.
That's funny. Boat Klay. Yep.
Yeah, so it's going to have to be Kuminga. With respect to Moses Moody, maybe it's me too.
Y'all need to trade him.
Maybe if Moses Moody is playing well enough, maybe it's Moody next to Steph to give them some size, and then Wiggins with Kuminga and Draymond, and now you at least have some size on the bench.
That's not happening. Once again, these things aren't not saying you're wrong. They're not happening. That's the whole conundrum.
All right, and that's
Klay
fine.
is not getting on the bench.
I know
Chris
they've
Paul,
tried already.
Or if they try it for Klay, they try it for Chris Paul. Next thing we know, Chris Haynes is reporting that that somebody's not happy. Chris Paul wants to be traded, or Chris Paul is disgruntled, or anything. They ain't gonna let it happen.
There's my issue with this whole thing.
That tweet's going out at the Golden One Center on night 2.
Because what needs to happen is not going to, and that is the crux.
So
of their
why
issue.
not? Like, if the stated goal, like Draymond said, we could win multiple championships. Why not do all things to win titles?
Because they want to win titles
their way.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this right now. I'm already going to tell you right now. This is going to sound unfair. This is going to sound unfair.
You're going to make me mad. Am I about to be mad?
Steve Kerr is not going to ever do what needs to be done.
Oh, I don't disagree.
Going against those guys.
Well, going against Steph.
Well, I think sorry, go ahead.
If Steph rolled up into Steve Kerr's office and Draymond and said, "Yo,
I think
Klay is killing us. He cannot close games anymore." Then maybe Steve Kerr goes and has that conversation. But if Steve Kerr comes to Steph and Draymond and goes, "Guys, Klay's killing us," they're gonna go, "No, he's not. He's fine."
Like, you're right.
We have 4 rings with him.
I think that's why Bob Myers left. He didn't want to deal with any of this. This team is clear. Regardless, I still think that the Warriors are good. But they're clearly they're on the other side of the hill. Mm-hmm. And Bob Myers, look, I don't want to make these decisions with Steph and Draymond and Klay. Joe Lacob might not let me make these decisions with Steph, Claymont, and or Steph's not really a factor in this. Claymont, Draymond, all these guys. I'm just going to leave. I don't have nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
Steph's going to be great for eternity, probably, and it's going to be infuriating. But the other two are not.
Retire.
Yeah.
And Bob's like, I'm cool. Y'all figure this out.
Yeah, he's going to go get some ESPN money and then go elsewhere.
Like we reported the day after he retired. But this is fine. It's fine. Good thing Woj had it 4 months later.
Do you credit you guys?
Jesus. This guy. I tell you. Now, so Dwight Howard, we're not feeling it. Chris Paul, I don't know. I go back and forth. I'm not completely sold that it won't work because Chris Paul is still a good ball player.
I don't think it's going to work the whole season, and I don't think it's going to be his playing skills that are going to make it a problem. They're going to clash at some point.
I find it hard to believe that but I'm not disagreeing with you, but I find it hard to believe that they won't do what's best in the name of winning.
They already
like
didn't.
Those players, like as far as clashing, right? Like he may have an issue with Steve Kerr or the playing time, but as far as like Chris Paul and Draymond or Chris Paul and Klay or something, like I feel like they would figure it out. It's Chris Paul, it's Draymond, like it's not little brother.
Notoriously just angry,
but it's not a little brother thing. Like you could punk in their eyes, you could punk Jordan Poole. You can't punk Chris Paul.
But they couldn't figure it out with Kevin Durant.
Well,
they could still be winning titles.
Yeah.
They couldn't figure it out with Kevin Durant.
Yeah. That's a good point. Good point.
I think there were other circumstances there.
Probably. But this is a really good story.
Did you read Ethan Strauss's book? Did you read Ethan Strauss's book?
I didn't, but I did have a funny experience with Kevin Durant and Ethan Strauss.
What?
Yeah, before a game. I don't remember. It was a while ago. It could have been down south time. I was with Sam, who I'm not allowed to contractually speak to anymore or reference publicly. But this was back then, so I was able to talk to Sam Amick. And Ethan Strauss came over and was talking to Sam, and was just kind of joined the conversation. And KD came over and said hi to Sam, said hi to me. I've never met him before. Like in that type of setting. He's like, hey, what's up, bro? Yeah. Just talks to Sam. Completely ignores Ethan.
Hilarious.
Like Ethan's right next to it. Completely ignores him. Glares at him. Walks away. Ethan ultimately
real
leaves.
Zazzy.
And I turned to Sam like, hey, he was like, yeah, it's bad.
Oof.
Ethan wrote something that Kevin Durant did not feel.
Yes.
And I think Katie said something in the press conference that indirectly referenced something
Yes.
Ethan Strauss said.
I forget what it was, but yeah.
Oh, he was furious
Yeah.
and wanted Ethan to know he was furious by coming over to where Ethan was and completely ignoring him.
So I'm going to say
Dude.
what's up to this guy. I don't know.
That's right. Yeah.
He zeroed in on you and went, there's a pawn.
That's it. I was a pawn in Katie's game. You, sir, can go home for the day. Well done.
Thank you.
Great week on the Insiders.
Yeah,
You
thanks.
got a big
You're
week
the man.
ahead.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you.